Okay, good morning. I will today I will talk about some research that's actually conducted by a group of people, which is we checking progress towards sustainable intensification. And as we gradually recognized, food is the single strongest lever to optimize human health and environmental sustainability. It provides humans with nutrition to fight hunger and keep health, and plays impacts on the environment. Irrigation have for the food production accounts for about 72% of all fresh water withdrawal, and we can see that all of the world about 60% and 48% of the nitrogen and phosphorus were applied, and a third of or a quarter to a third of GHG greenhouse gas emissions are from food systems. In 2021 Global Food Summit, agri-food systems transformation had been recognized be critical for achieving SDGs. Cropping system lays at the basis of food systems. They offer more than 80% of all food calories and about 80% of protein and fats. So crop production takes a key role in providing human society with food and are key for food systems transformation. And we got big Earth data, which is very good measurement to a good technique to check the progress of how the agri-food system is going. Here we have utilized biggest data to support SDGs, including different SDGs, including SDG 2, 6, 13, 14, and 15. And for different kind of sectors of agri-food system, bigger data has been applied to monitor their distribution, production, assess the environmental interaction, and deliver sustainable solutions. I will then give some case studies or examples about how we do this. First of all is the global monitoring and evaluation of cropland change. Here, focusing on cropping system, we checked at the global scale, we checked the crop change since 1982 by conducting a couple of models for continuous change detection and dynamic update of cropland. We find that the global crop area keep increased since 1985, but with a reduced annual growth rate up to 2015. We also checked the spatial pattern of cropping intensity and gaps at global scale. On top of the croppings, it is at the 10 to 30 meters resolution, and we found in 2020 about 85% too of the global cropland was single cropping. If we could close the cropping intensity gaps, there will be 0.23 billion tons increase in green production, which is about 60.4% of current global production. And when it goes to the aspects of production and environmental interaction, we have a model which called ET Monitor. We use this to obtain WE by calculating the ratio of MPP to water consumption by evapotranspiration of cropland. And we found that global cropland WE showed a significant increase in trend with overall rise of 3.5%. Except for global products, we dive into the national scale. Here we focus on China to develop methodology to investigate the cropping systems. First of all, with the map of cropland distribution and cropping intensity, we developed crop distribution maps. We integrate remote sensing data, statistic data, and field surveys. We generate maps of 14 major crops in China, and it is at 1 kilometer resolution. Here we divided the whole country into 6 zones with different cropping patterns and allocated the statistic crop area onto different cropping seasons in each zone. This is the result. It's the map of the 14 study crops. We also mapped the crops in 2000 and 2015. We find the distribution for most crops tend to be more concentrated, resulting in lower crop diversity at the pixel level. Besides crop distribution, in order to investigate water consumption by cropping system, we seek to develop methodology to map irrigated dryland. That means irrigated cropland, except paddy rice. We also divided the whole country into different zones because different zones have different situations in climate and also some other landscapes, which will form different patterns of cropping system. So based on this remote sensing image, statistic data, and samples, we developed a methodology to mapping irrigated dryland. And we find that in 2022, the irrigated dryland accounting for about 29% of arable land. From 2015 to 2022, the total area of irrigated dryland decreased, mainly because of the urban expansion has taken up lots of cropland, which are mostly irrigated. But the irrigated dryland increased rapidly in northwestern China because of cropland expansion in this area, and almost all cropland in this region need to irrigate. Next, we try to estimate the sustainability of the cropping system. Here we developed special implicit maps of crop production, irrigation water consumption, nitrogen and phosphorus application, and greenhouse gas emissions. We developed the environmental intensity metric, that is to say, environmental impacts per calorie produced. For example, excess fertilizer application per calorie produced. We use the metrics to evaluate the sustainability of the cropping system. And we find that since 2000, national average intensity of all indicators decreased, indicating a more environmentally efficient cropping system in China. We further looked into the contribution of the drivers of these changes. We conclude the drivers into 2 categories. First is farm management, such as irrigation, fertilizer application, and so on. The second is land use change. And we find that more than 90% of the changes come from improvement of farm management. But the land use change primarily driven by urbanization obscured the chance, and its contribution become larger. So we need to pay more attention on the land use change here. For the environmental interactions, we further looked into the impacts of crop production on soil. The first is crop carbon sequestration. We developed a process-based model, UWSE to access the carbon cycle in agricultural existence. We calibrate the model to evaluate the soil organic carbon changes for 4 crops, including rice, wheat, maize, and soybean, and also estimate the changes of organic carbon in the future climate change scenarios. We find that from 2015 to 2020, the national average soil organic carbon density of cropland increased by 3.4%. The future scenarios analysis suggested that Chinese cropland soil will continue to serve as a carbon sink, but with weakening intensity. The other kind of impacts on soil is about soil erosion. We evaluate the soil conservation effects of terrace in China. We developed a large-scale terrace mapping method through extracting multiple temporal, structural, and topographic features from remote sensing images and terrain data. And the large-scale soil conservation effects evaluation model was developed based on revised universal soil loss equation. It is found that terrace accounts for about 1/4 of the national cropland area, and nearly half of it are located in cropland, with the slope from 6 to 15. The existing terrace has reduced the water erosion amount of cropland by 50%. After estimating the environmental impacts, we try to find the solutions for a more sustainable system. First, we try to understand what's the yield potential of different fields and how environmental impacts could be reduced. Here we focus on excess fertilizer application. We developed a remote sensing crop yield model to estimate the yield potential and input response models for different crops in different climate zones to estimate reducible fertilizer application. We took 2015 when the 2030 agenda launched as a start point and found that if closing the yield gap of rice and wheat in major production area, that is some major production area in China, we can meet the predicted total consumption in China in 2030. And on the basis of maintaining crop production, the reducible ratio for nitrogen and phosphorus applied for the 3 major stable crops in China was 17 and 19 respectively in 2015. The other kind of solution is about switching crops for higher environmental efficiency. Based on pixel level environmental impact metrics, we used optimization model to develop optimal spatial distribution patterns for 4 major crops to minimize the environmental impacts while maintaining their production on existing cropland. We also consider the regional water stress and the loss rate of the fertilizer in different regions as the background. Here is the result. We show we see that the optimization of crop production distribution could reduce irrigation water consumption by about 26% and more than 40% of the excess nitrogen and phosphorus application and about 90% of greenhouse gas emissions. So, and we can see where we can reduce this kind of environmental impacts in different parts of China. Okay, that's all for the thing that I would like to show. And in the future, we could expect more progress monitoring in the sector of livestock and fishery, aiming to support a diverse and healthier diet. Besides, we urge to integrate big Earth data with multiple disciplinary models to develop a comprehensive solution for agri-food systems and apply them at different regions and scales, such as in Ghana. Yeah. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much for the insightful presentation. And I'll ask our attendees if you have any question, you can unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can type it in the chat box. Yeah, I think there's a question in the chat box.
Okay, let me check. Oh, where we can get the data. The data I used in this research is from multiple sources. For remote sensing data, we use either for example the Landsat, MODIS, and Chinese Gaofen images. For most of it can be can be obtained free. Yeah, but it depends on which region you want to look into. And the software, we actually we didn't make a product that which is a software. We just we have some codes on it. So yeah, there is no which is ready to use software. Yeah. As Gigi said, it has very special band, especially for night light. It have several bands of night light, and it's 10 meters resolution. So it has a higher spectral resolution and also the spatial resolution. We can see see the detail of the cities. We can even differentiate different type of lights in the of the city. So if you are interested, you can contact with me, and I can show you some image of the SDT set. Yeah. 24-hour economy. I don't know what does it mean, but it definitely have a very high potential for Ghana, for Ghana's agriculture system, for the cropping system. Um, First of all, they are high potential of yield, uh, large yield gap, for the major crops. So I think maybe we can, if you are interested, we can work together to estimate how much more we can produce in Ghana, and where is those potential located. Based on this information, I believe the government can help the government to direct the investment on agriculture. Yeah. Great. I will type my um my email in the chat box. And if you are interested in this SDT set, you can email me, and I can help you to get it. Yeah.
Okay. So on this note, I would like to thank Prof. Lijun for her time in taking us through tracking progress towards sustainable intensification. And this meeting is recorded and it will be shared across our platforms for others to also learn something from it. Prof, we thank you for your time and we hope to meet you again. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.